And a very special good morning to all tuned in here on this Sunday morning. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers tuning in. I'm Jeff Rimmer, and filling in along with the president of hockey operations for the Columbus Blue Jackets, John Davidson, as we fill in for your regular host, Mark Wyatt, and, of course, Bob McElligott, who are on assignment, as it were. Actually, from what I understand, Mark Wyatt is on a cruise somewhere in the Caribbean, and I expected to rejoin us here in 2 Sundays from now on what will be the final Sunday of this show and draft day. But it is a pleasure to once again be sharing a microphone with John Davidson, of course, the Hall of Fame broadcaster, now president of the Blue Jackets hockey operations. And JD, does this bring back memories?
Yeah, good days. You and I haven't worked a radio show together since the days of you living in Florida, myself in New York. And we had a radio show coast to coast. That was a lot of fun. Good to be here.
Now,
thanks. And happy Father's Day, everybody.
Absolutely. Now, will this bring back some memories?
From the heart of professional hockey, this is Inside the NHL.
Hi, I'm John Davidson.
And hi, I'm Jeff Rimmer. While others are reporting on the National Hockey League, we'll take you inside the NHL.
Inside the NHL, the only 2-hour weekly live interactive radio show endorsed by the National Hockey League.
This is NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman, and it's great to have a weekly radio show crisscrossing the United States and Canada. Join me in listening to Inside the NHL.
Unlike any other show that just talks about what has happened in the world of hockey, JD and the Rim Man travel the continent each week to bring your listeners the NHL insiders, the players, and the coaches breaking the stories and dissecting the key issues on and off the ice.
Man.
How about that?
That
Those were late Sunday nights.
The Rim Man.
I haven't heard that one from a while.
Yeah, that was great. I used to, I know you were down in Florida in the studio, and I was at my house in Bedford, New York, and I'd go upstairs. I had an ISDN line to make it clear for the listeners, and you could sit there with your feet up and have a blast doing it. It was great. I would leave from my bedroom to my office for a couple hours, do some radio, go back to bed. It was great.
Well, we've got a great show lined up here today. Obviously, there's a lot to talk about, and quite frankly, even before we talk about our guests, and we could have a couple of surprise guests as well, I think we should lead off with the big news yesterday. From a Blue Jackets perspective, Sergei Bobrovsky rightfully winning the Vezina Trophy, John.
Deservedly so. He's an outstanding young man. Came into Columbus with his eyes wide open, knowing that he was driven to be the best, and he's got work habits that are really something to be just to be aware of for people listening. When you think you work hard, and you do work hard, go see how hard this fellow works as far as sports go. I've had the pleasure of being around a lot of goaltenders throughout the years. I remember being around Mike Richter. I remember being around Dominik Hasek. These people worked, and because of their work habits, it showed in the way they played. They became the best. This young man's got a chance to do exactly that because of his work habits, the way he is thought of by teammates, which is something very special. The great goaltenders in this game, the team plays for them. And I think with Sergei winning the Vezina, very deserving. Also deserving credit are the coaches, the goalie coach Ian Clark, the head coach and the assistant coaches, the style of play they put in, the defensemen, the way they block shots, the forwards, knowing we knew our team here, for us to win games, we had to be good on the defensive side of the puck because we weren't a blessed scoring team. And everybody bought into that. And then with Bob on the back end, whenever we had issues or had to kill a penalty or whatever, he was always there. He had a great year, and he has a great future ahead of him.
Now, obviously, a lot of questions and comments concerning what happens to him in the future, but we will get to that in a few moments because, as we promised, we had a number of surprise guests lined up, and our first guest, who better than the great one, Wayne Gretzky, joining us here on the Blue Jackets Sunday morning. Wayne, happy Father's Day to you.
Thank you, and same to you guys. How are you doing this morning?
Good, big boy. Are you at the U.S. Open, or are you home watching?
Yesterday, I hopped on a plane with my boys and we flew to Toronto. So actually, I'm in Brantford for Father's Day today. So we're having. I didn't even know who won the awards last night. So congratulations to your goalie. Sounds like he won, right?
Yeah, he did, and deservedly so, Wayne.
Yeah.
You know, you've been around a lot of the great ones over the years. When you think of goaltenders, obviously, when you were in Edmonton and when you had Grant Fuhr and Andy Moog there, that was just dynamic, those two fellas. But isn't it about work habits, too, and how hard they work and how the team wants to play for them?
Yeah, you know what? It really is. And, the captain is such an important part of a hockey team, and everyone knows and understands that. But the goaltender is also a big part of it, because you're going to have a lot of nights where you're not at your best and your team's just, for whatever reason, sort of in a little bit of a tailspin, and that goaltender can be the one person that keeps a 4-game or 5-game or 6-game winning streak going just by being as good as you can be in one particular game. So, as you said, being in Edmonton, I was really lucky. Grant Fuhr's work ethic and Andy Moog's work ethic was as good as anybody that I ever saw play the game. And they got really fortunate, too, and they made a deal, and they traded for Billy Ranford, who came into Edmonton, and he was one of the probably more underrated goalies that maybe ever won a Stanley Cup, and his work ethic was just as strong, and I think he's passing all those wisdoms on to Jonathan Quick in Los Angeles. But you know what? I watched your guy play quite a bit this year. It was well-deserved, and he had a fabulous year, and hopefully he can back that up and help you guys next year and give you another great year.
You want to broker the agent discussion with his contract that he's working on?
Yeah, there's the good and the bad. The good is he had a great year. The bad is now you're going to have to pay the fiddler.
Wayne, you've got to wish your dad, Walter, a happy Father's Day for us. And, boy, it must have been nice sitting back, and I'm sure with your family, watching last night's Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final. In fact, the playoffs have just been outstanding.
Yeah, you know what? The hockey is just so good. And, John and I have talked about this before over the years. The players are bigger now. They're faster. They're stronger. The parity in the National Hockey League is so much better than it's ever been in the last 30 or 40 years. And as you can see, the first 2 games of this finals is probably as good a hockey as we've seen in a long time. And you know what? My brother works for the Bruins. He's an amateur scout, so I know last night sitting with them, they're very excited about getting a split in Chicago and heading back to Boston at 1-1. It's going to be a tremendous series. It's going to be a long one. It's going to be hard to win 4 games in that series, but I suspect it probably goes to the distance because both teams so evenly matched and work so hard. It's great to see not only talented players, but it's good to see talented players who are working as hard as they are. It's good for our game.
A 2-part question for you, Wayne. One, tell us about your son and the baseball with the Cubs organization, how that's going, and then the second part is about yourself. What you've been doing, what your thoughts are with hockey, what the future might bring, what you're thinking about.
Well, first of all, I love the game. As you know, I watch a lot of hockey, and listen, everything I have in my life is because of the game of hockey, and I have so many great memories, and I've made so many great friendships over the years. There's a lot of nice people in the sport of hockey. At this time, though, I really haven't thought too much about it. I kind of am enjoying being a fan like everyone else and sitting back and just watching the game. And so right now, it's probably not in the cards for me, but you know what? I owe a great deal to the game, and I love it. So, you never know in time what may happen or what may change, but as of now, I'm just sort of on the sidelines. But as far as Trevor goes, he's playing A-ball in Boise, which is the A club for the Chicago Cubs. And he's a young man, 20 years old, and as I tell him, it's work ethic and commitment. And the guys who work the hardest are the ones that make it. And there's a lot of great stories in every sport of, you start out and you just put the time in, and one day you can hopefully get there, but it's tough to get there, and it's the guys who work the hardest. And, it's probably the same advice I give to any youngster, whether it be baseball or hockey.
Wayne, we're going to let you go. Spend the day with your dad and the family, and really thank you for joining us here off the top of the show.
Yeah, listen, thank you guys, and happy Father's Day, and congratulations, John. It's a great season and turn around that organization. It's good to see. It's a great sports city, good for Columbus. Congratulations to you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Gretz. And again,
All right.
to the number one dad in Canada, wish him well for us. Thanks.
All right, thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Wayne Gretzky joining us, and JD, back in your days with the Rangers, you've talked, you and I have talked off the air about the times that you'd be flying and have a chance to sit and talk to Wayne about hockey, and those were some of the greatest times for you.
You know, he has a great memory for hockey and at all ages, from youth hockey all the way through. He has great stories about how his dad taught him to play the game and understand the game and treat the game. You know, Jeff, in spending all that time with Wayne, and there was hours and hours, and whether it be playing golf or on the aircraft or whatever it was, the greatest gift, aside from his ability to play the game, is the way he treated people. And it didn't matter what the person did for a living. It didn't matter if the person was working in the elevator in a hotel or if the person was the president of a large company. He treated every single one of them the same. And I'll tell you a real quick story. He was looking for a place to play golf in Westchester County, New York on a Monday, and I got him to this course, and the superintendent set it up for him. The next day we were flying out, about a half a mile was the Westchester airport. We chartered out of there to fly to play games. And he showed up the next day early, went over to the superintendent's house, knocked on the door, and had some autograph sticks and some autograph pictures and stuff for the superintendent, his wife, and his children, as a thank you for being allowed to play the golf course the day before when nobody was around. But he didn't have to do that. Those are the types of things Wayne Gretzky does. He's a tremendous, tremendous person.
We're going to take a short break, come back. When we come back, a familiar voice will be joining us to discuss some of the coaching vacancies, and one that apparently has been filled in New York. Ken Hitchcock, former Blue Jackets coach and the former coach for John in St. Louis. We'll get his thoughts on the Stanley Cup final. Again, the series now tied 1-1, and Game 3 will be played in Boston tomorrow night. Be at Nationwide Arena Sunday, June 30th for the Blue Jackets NHL Draft Party starting at 2:30 p.m. Meet Jack Johnson, Jared Bohl, and Boone Jenner. Enjoy food specials, locker room tours, and more. Admission is free.